back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys, so I am here today to wrap up everything I managed to get through in the month of August, which was a fair bit considering I was away for a good week of it, or just over a week and a half actually, in Worldcon, and I've been pretty busy. I have been joining lots of groups over the last month. It's been great for a social life, not as great for my reading life, but I feel like I've done pretty well even so. So I'm going to go through lowest to highest as I always do, and let me know in the comments if you've read any of these and what you thought of them if you have. So let's get started. The first book I read, and in fact I did not actually finish this or the next one I'm about to talk about, is a DNF for me. It was one of the SPFBO books and it was called The Pain of Compassion. I didn't love this one. It had a few too many tropes for my liking. I'll go into more detail on it when I wrap up my next 5 SPFBO books, which should be very soon because I only have to read one more before I can do that. So this one probably would have ended up with a 2 stars, but I DNF'd it, so I didn't actually rate it on Goodreads. So yeah, that was my first. The second DNF of the month was Influx. This is another SPFBO one. Again, it just didn't really appeal to me personally. It wasn't my style of book and it didn't really fit what I was hoping for it to be. So I ended up DNFing it, and again, it probably would have got a 2 stars. It was okay, but it wasn't my personal taste. Moving on to books I actually finished. The first of those is Dragon's Trail. This one was a book that I did read for SPFBO and I ended up giving it 2 stars. This book I wouldn't personally recommend. It was again just 2 stars. I will go into it more in my SPFBO wrap up. I had a not so great experience with this one, so I'll talk about it more there. But yeah, it wasn't really my personal taste and it had some issues and I gave it 2 stars, but that one I did finish. Moving on to better things, a book I actually did like is this one. It's called So Much for That by Lionel Shriver, and this is one of the Wellcome Book Prize project books that Eleanor and I are reading together. I'll link Eleanor's channel below. If you don't know what the Wellcome Book Prize project is, it's a project that Eleanor and I are doing to read books that were shortlisted for the Wellcome Book Prize, which is a prize that honours medicine and medical related books. They can be fiction or non-fiction, and you get all sorts of different types. This particular one is a fiction book, and if you would like to hear my thoughts on this one and the other Wellcome Book Prize book, then you should tune in to the live show that Eleanor and I are doing on the 2nd of September. It's going to be at 8:30 p.m. on her channel, I believe, so I'll put a link to her channel below. Go and subscribe and make sure that you're there to chat with us about these books on Saturday, the 2nd of September. So I'm very excited for that, looking forward to the chat, and hopefully you guys will have some stuff to say. Even if you just come along and listen and chat, that's great too. So we'd love to have you there. And this one I gave 3 stars, but I will talk a lot more in detail about it when I do that chat with Eleanor. Another one that got 3 stars from me is 9 Parts Bluster and Other Stories by A.Z. Anthony. This book was a tiny little one. It's collection of novellas, and I have done a review of this to tell you a bit more about it, so if you want to hear more I'll put a link to that review, but I ended up giving this a 3 stars overall. And then luckily the rest of my books were 4 stars and above, so I would recommend all of these ones for you guys to go and check out. The first one is a fairly new release, and if the review is not already up, it will be up very soon for this, and that is The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. This book is the 3rd and final one in the Broken Earth trilogy, and the Broken Earth trilogy is one that I love, and I've been really anticipating this read. I did a buddy read with a couple of other people, had a great time, generally really enjoyed this, and ended up giving it 4 stars in the end because it topped off the series very well. The 5th season I think remains my favourite of the 3, but I still really like the whole series, so I'd recommend it for sure. Next up I have one of my SPFBO books. This one is called Dark Storm, and I actually finished this one today, and this is a book all about mages. It's very exciting, very magic based, very fun, and lots of drama. I'll talk more about it in detail when I do my wrap up, but it was definitely a book well worth reading, and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I listened to a book, and this one is called Why I Am No Longer Talking to White People About Race. It's a really short book, I think only about 200 pages, and so the audiobook is about 5-6 hours, something like that. And I got through this really quickly. It mostly focuses on Britain and the racism, particularly in Britain, but it's a really relevant, very current kind of read, and one I think is well worth reading. I very much enjoyed it, and I gave it a 4 stars in the end, and would recommend the audiobook because it is narrated by the author, but again I will review it in future, so look out for that. Next up was another SBFBO book. You guys have already probably seen me talk about some of these ones because I've already wrapped up the first 5, and this was in the first 5, and that is Gift of Phoenix, which I gave a 4.25 out of 5. This one I have done a full review, so I'll put a link to that below and in the cards and you can go check it out. It's a very traditional classic style fantasy. Sticking to the theme of very traditional classic fantasies, this one is The Witchwood Crown, which is by Tad Williams. It is the new one in his Ostenard world, and it's set 30 years after the ending of Memory, Sorrow and Thorn, which is his previous series in this world. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a massive step up, and I have done a review of this which will be coming very soon if not already up, so check out that when it is up. I ended up giving this a 4.5, and it's definitely my favourite of his Ostenard books so far, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this series continues, and I'll definitely be picking up more in the future when they come out. A few more books that also got 4.5 out of 5 stars include The Exercise of Vital Powers by Ian Gregoire, and this book is one of my SBFBO reads. In fact, it is topping my SBFBO reads at the moment because I'm really excited about it, and it's just a lot of fun, a lot of magic, and great characters with real twists and turns. I've done a full review of this, so you should go and check that out if you want to know more, and you should definitely go and buy this one. I highly recommend it, and I gave it a 4.5 stars. Another one that got 4.5 stars from me is this one, which is another of the Wellcome Book Prize books. This is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. It is a non-fiction, and it is told in a very fictionalised way, so it feels very readable and very approachable despite being non-fiction. I would highly recommend checking this one out. I do think there is a film coming out this year or next year, quite soon, so it's a good time to pick up the book, and it's definitely worth reading. I really enjoyed this, so if you want to know more, check out the live show that Eleanor and I will be doing. And now on to my 2 5-star books of the month, although only one of them was new to me. The other one was a reread, and that was this, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I have already read this, you guys know. I really enjoyed it the first time round, and the second time was no exception. I really enjoyed it again. And the reason I reread this was because I joined a book group fairly local to me, and their theme of the month was space, so of course I nominated The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and everyone else voted for it, and we read it, and we discussed it, and we spent probably 3 hours talking about this book, which was so much fun. I had a great time. It's only the second one I've been to, but I loved it. And of course the book, 5 stars, obviously. If you want to know more about this, I will put my review below. It's quite old now because it came out a year or 2 ago, but yeah, I still absolutely love this series and would highly recommend this book in particular to anyone who's kind of a bit scared of sci-fi or new to it or just wants something really lovely and fun. It's great. And speaking of great, the final one that I have to talk about this month and my final 5-star review is of Franklin's Flying Bookshop, which is due to come out the first week of September, so very soon. And this is an illustrated children's book I absolutely adored. It has a dragon who loves books, it has a girl who loves books, it has stories, adventures, beautiful artwork, and it's just great. It is the epitome of what I want children's books to be. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I will be reviewing this very soon, and it's so beautiful. So anyone with kids or family who are young, go and check out a copy of this for them because they will love it. So that is everything I managed to get through in the month of August. It is the last day of August and it's the evening as I'm filming this, so I don't think I'll get through anything else. I have a couple things ongoing, but hopefully I will get them into my September TBR and I'll be uploading that very soon, so go and check that out. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave me your comments below and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.